Hi, guys. Good afternoon. And there's just a couple of articles that I want to get out to you that I felt was pretty important. One is about Poland kind of breaking the ease in Belarus. The other one about the 17-year-olds going into battle there in Ukraine and disabled people. What are they thinking? I can't imagine why anybody could continue to support this and think that it's okay. And then we also have the government deciding to send armor piercing depleted uranium. So, and then we have not again, New Yorkers are told to mask up for Labor Day as the, C variant sparks super spread fears. Anyway, let's get into these articles. Every single one of these articles will be in the description in the box below. Um, anyway, let's share these articles really quick, guys. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful weekend. It's beautiful here. It really is. It's very comfortable as opposed to the scorching weather that we've had lately. We're going to start here, guys, with this article from War News 247. As you can see, they are setting up a new front in the Baltic to save Ukraine. Invasion of the Polish Mi-24 in the EEZ of Belarus, a border incident with Latvian soldiers. A Polish Mi-24 helicopter violated the airspace of Belarus by flying at a depth of 1,200 meters, signaling an alert to the Russian and Belarusian air defense. At the same time, two Latvian soldiers caused a border incident by violating the Belarusian border. The incidents are characterized as quite serious by Minsk as they happened 24 hours after the rejection of the ultimatum of Poland and the Baltic states by A. Lukashenko. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said that the demands of Poland and the Baltic countries for the withdrawal of the Russian mercenary organization Wagner from Belarus are baseless and stupid, as reported by the Belarusian news agency Belta. According to Belta, Lukashenko stated that the opposition to Wagner's president in Belarus is unjustified as long as foreign troops are stationed in Poland and the Baltic states, all of which are NATO members. According to Belta, Lukashenko stated that Poland and the Baltic countries have no right to complain about Wagner in Belarus as long as they have even one foreign soldier on their soil. In the meantime, these are the baseless and silly demands, he said. Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania are ready to close the border with Belarus entirely in the case of critical events such as an armed conflict at its borders or the mass breach of illegal migrants. And that was Knoll reports September 1st. Then we have a Mi-24 helicopter of Polish Air Force violated the air border of the Republic of Belarus. Again, the Polish Mi-24 helicopter violated the Z's, right? So it happens on the evening of September 1st. The Belarusian border guards recorded a violation of the Belarusian airspace by Poland in the Berwiński district of the Grodno region bordering Poland. The Polish Mi-24 military helicopter crossed the state border at an extremely low altitude, flew at a depth of 1,200 meters in the territory of Belarus, and then returned back, the report says. Belarus has been informed that Poland about the incident and summoned the Polish ambassador to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for an explanation. Earlier on the Latvian-Belarusian border, two Latvian servicemen crossed the border line and entered Belarusian territory for 2 meters. Then they returned, but the infiltration into the neighboring state was captured by video cameras. The number of such incidents on the border of Belarus with Poland and Baltic countries is increasing, which is a very worrying factor. It is possible that the neighbor and NATO member countries are deliberately provoking Belarus with an aim of provoking a serious war episode in order to first completely close the borders and impose a land blockade on Kaliningrad and Belarus. In the second phase, let NATO get involved in order to save Ukraine. Anyway, so that is what we have. Then we have this here. the new recruitment of 500,000 men in Ukraine. They are forming a new brigades with 17-year-olds, men over 50, those who fled abroad, and disabled people. Guys, it just can't get any crazier than this. The military and civilian administration of Ukraine is proceeding with the new recruitment of a total of 500,000 people, from 17-year-olds to men over 50, those who fled abroad, even the disabled. The details are shocking as they describe the genocide taking place in Ukraine. An unprecedented number of workers and students will join military units. The data shows that Kyiv is preparing a total mobilization in September. In fact, letters went sent to many areas asking for the update of the recruitment list. There will be an additional mobilization in Ukraine, said the Secretary of the country's National Security Council, Alex Danilov. According to him, the military administration of Kyiv insists on additional conscriptions. Yes, the army is making a request, and there will probably be an additional plan, but this does not mean that it will see the limit that we approved on February 24th, 2022, Alex Danilov. It should be noted that the information about the additional conscription in Ukraine appeared against the background of the huge losses of the armed forces of Ukraine during the counterattack. According to Western military analysts, between June and August of this year alone, the Ukrainian army lost more than 40,000 dead. At the same time, the losses of Kyiv are estimated at over 500,000 people. If we add the dead, the number of captured Ukrainian soldiers and the missing. According to the plans of Ukraine military command, by the autumn of this year, about 200,000 people will be called up to the armed forces of the country. Along with them, during the winter and spring, Ukrainian units will be replenished with another 300,000 soldiers. Kyiv plans to mobilize a total of 500,000 Ukrainian citizens in the fall and winter to compensate for the massive losses in the summer, the counteroffensives, as well as to form new brigades for the spring counteroffensives. Kyiv is planning a second counterattack, and for this purpose is reinforcing troops. At the same time, any statements and actions of the Ukrainian authorities exclude any negotiations between the parties involved. Russia has the same opinion. The head of Duma committee on the CIS affairs, Leonid Kalshinok, stressed that the negotiations can benefit the Ukrainians as they will freeze the conflict, get a temporary respite, and rearm. One of the specialized committees of the Verkhovna Rada sent a letter to the lower and the age enlistment in the Ukrainian army from 18 to 17. The author of the letter is Sofia Fedun, a member of parliament in the European Solidarity Party. According to the MP, such a measure is necessary to replenish the units of the armed forces of Ukraine in the context of military conflict. It is not yet known whether this bill will be passed, but it is possible that school children and students in Ukraine will be drafted. In fact, this is now the most likely, as War News 247 has described in another article. In addition to the MP, David Arhamia proposed measures to extradite the Ukrainian men under the age of 60 who are legally granted permission to leave the country to avoid conscription. Ukrainian citizens report that in Kyiv, they started taking old men, that is, those over 50. Recruitment center representatives go from house to house to distribute calls in crowded places, at public transport stops, shops, subways, parks, etc. At the same time, no refusals are accepted. They take everyone without exception. With mobilization, everything is very tragic. They began to take men over 50 into the army. My colleague lost her husband, who is well over 50, TASS reports, quoting residents of Kyiv. They had gone to the capital of Ukraine for work, and the authorities did not pay attention to the certificates of the place of the residence. It is emphasized that based on the results of the audit, conclusions will be drawn for this person who, on the basis of falsified decisions, went abroad. The purpose of Zelensky's order is simple: to give commanders more opportunities to mobilize military personnel, even with disabilities. It is just crazy, guys. It's awful. It's shameful. I just can't even imagine it. But there's those things in there. So you know that no one's making that stuff up, but it's crazy. And then we also have the madness here. They play it all for everything. After Britain, the U.S. sends depleted uranium ammunition to Ukraine. They are pressed pressuring Moscow to press the button. Again, Britain and the U.S. have now crossed the Rubicon. After the cluster of munitions, the U.S. government decided to send armor-piercing depleted uranium munitions designed to penetrate armor to Ukraine, according to a document seen by Reuters news agency and two of its sources. The shells, intended mainly to destroy Russian tanks and other armored vehicles, will be part of Washington's new military aid package to Kyiv that is expected to be unveiled within the next week. They can be fired from U.S. Abrams tanks, dozens of which, according to the source, briefed on the matter, will be delivered to the Ukrainian army within weeks. The Biden administration reportedly plans to announce the delivery of the depleted uranium armor-piercing munitions in the military aid package for Ukraine. Such projectiles are the standard ammunition for an M1A1 Abrams tank. Most likely, the transportable projectile will be the 120 millimeters M829A2 manufactured in the 90s. However, it is possible that the U.S. will also deliver it in more modern, the M829A3 APF-SDST, designed to penetrate modern armor. Britain already sent such missiles to Ukraine earlier this year, but U.S. deliveries of depleted uranium shells are expected to provoke a backlash. They will follow Washington's decision to send the clusters. Russian sources comment while waiting for official reaction from Moscow. The administration of the U.S. Joe Biden has decided to follow the path of Great Britain and increase the contamination of Ukrainian soil with nuclear waste. Since the U.S. and Britain are sending depleted uranium munitions, they can no longer prohibit Moscow from using the 152 millimeter artillery shells with nuclear warheads, as suggested during Duma. A former deputy commander of the Southern Military District, General Audrey Gerald. In fact, they are pushing Moscow to push the button first. Why the U.S. and Britain won't stop shipping depleted uranium munitions. Let's look again at Putin said 6 months ago. The use of depleted uranium munitions is a hotly contested. Their opponents, such as the International Alliance for the Prohibition of Uranium Weapons in particular, complain that they pose huge risks to human health, as inhalation or ingestion of depleted uranium dust can cause cancer and very serious reproductive problems. A byproduct of the uranium enrichment process, depleted uranium is to be make the munitions, because of the tremendous density, allows it to penetrate armor and ignite. This metal is radioactive, but much less radioactive than natural uranium, yet its particulates remain radioactive for much longer, up to 700 million years. That's crazy. Now, how are they going to know it's going to last for 700 million years? I don't know, guys. Just some of the stuff they say sometimes. Anyway, the U.S. military used such munitions en masse in 1990, 2003 Gulf War, as well as 99 when NATO bombed the former Yugoslavia. The International Atomic Energy estimates, citing studies in the former Yugoslavia, Kuwait, Iraq, and Lebanon, that the depleted uranium residues in the environment do not pose a radiological risk to the population. This conclusion remains controversial. The information that Washington was considered the possibility of sending this depleted uranium ammunition to Ukraine was published in July by the Wall Street Journal. One of Reuters' sources in the U.S. government estimate that this package would be worth between $240 million and $375 million, depending on what it would be, what it would include, which has not yet been finalized. It's just crazy, guys. I can't even. It gets crazier and crazier every day. I say. Anyway, then we have again. New Yorkers told to mask up for Labor Day as new COVID variant sparks super spread fears. With summer coming to an end and the new COVID variant on the loose, some health experts are recommending people begin taking precautions again, starting with mask wearing. There is a potential for major spike in COVID cases following Labor Day weekend, when socializing will be at its peak, with people going to parties, parades, and celebrations. Patrick Galhu of the New York City Department of Health exclusively told Daily Express US, as case rises, precautions become increasingly important, especially for our most vulnerable New Yorkers who are older, disabled, or have underlying health conditions. Staying up to date with the slavers, along with other proven prevention tools like masking, testing, and staying home when sick, continue to be our best defense against the C and other respiratory viruses. The CDC spokesperson Scott Poley told the Daily Express, the CDC recommends that all people are up to date on their slavers before they travel. Polly said anyone may choose to wear a mask in a crowd or poorly ventilated indoor areas, including public transportation and in transportation hubs at any time. Labor Day weekend may bring in an increase in COVID cases as people flock to beaches to celebrate the end of summer with friends and family. Mercedes Carthen, a professor at the Preventative Medicine at Northwestern University, told the Daily Express US that she expects the new COVID BA 2.86 variant, dubbed Parola, will spread rapidly through travel this Labor Day weekend. Some New Yorkers' Labor Day plans were dampened when a Long Island beaches closed due to the rough surf and strong riptides from Hurricane Franklin and Idalia. But those beaches seem to have reopened just in time for the holiday. Well, of course they have. So they could claim this widespread, right? If it were closed, it would be able to spread. Ding, ding, ding. Anyway, guys, I also want to make mention Jimmy Buffett. I'm sure you've probably heard, as big as Jimmy is. Anyway, God bless his family, and we'll be praying for his family, and I hope you will as well. Anyway, thank you all so much for stopping by and checking me out this afternoon. And we have lots of things to do. Anyway, God bless you and have a wonderful day. Bye.